Welcome back. And tonight I'm going to make fruit salad. And the first thing I'm going to do is start washing up the fruit, and I will talk to you and tell you how I came upon this recipe as I'm washing up the fruit. So let's start with some grapes first. Okay, so I found some seedless red grapes. I'm not going to use all these grapes, but if I'm going to start washing them, I might as well wash all of them. It's very important to make sure that you wash all your fruit first. So, when we used to have family functions, when my mother-in-law was alive, when we would have dinners, she would always bring a fruit salad, and she would always come into the house with grocery bags full of fruit. And the first time she did it, I wasn't quite sure what she was up to because dinner was almost made. And she would start getting all the fruit out and start cutting it up. And soon she made this beautiful fruit salad, which was quite delicious. Now, I have modified the recipe over the years. My sister-in-law makes it, and she makes it different than I'm going to make it tonight. So we all have our own rendition. Okay, let's go on to the raspberries. Now, my mother-in-law used to go ahead and get frozen raspberries, and maybe she couldn't find fresh raspberries. I was able to find fresh raspberries, so I'm going to carefully wash them up. I don't want to get too aggressive with it, or they'll just turn into mush. But they do need to be cleaned. Some of these, go through them as you're looking at your fruit, because some of them are a little mushy. So I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to pick out ones that aren't in superb condition, because we don't want anything like that. So she did wash up all her fruit. The frozen bag, I don't believe she had to wash up because it was pre-washed already. So I'm going to get these all cleaned up and do it the same way I did with my grapes, and kind of inspecting them as I go along. And I better taste test one just to make sure it's good. So just very gently rinse off your raspberries carefully and check for ones that aren't wonderful. Okay, let me taste one of these. Quite delicious. Now I'm going to do blueberries. Now blueberries are a little bit trickier because after I rinse these all off thoroughly, these are a little bit stiffer, so that part's better, because the raspberries are super fragile. Okay, so the tricky part here is I'm going to actually take a container and I'm going to put a few on my hand at a time, because what I'm looking for is, of course, any that are too mushy, but I'm looking for stems, because I don't want to put stems into the fruit salad. So I will continue to do this. Okay, so I have found one with a stem, and I'm showing everybody because sometimes people are new to cooking, somebody young or somebody older who's really never had a chance to take the time to learn, and they maybe only have ever bought frozen blueberries. So I just wanted to show you what these little stems look like, and you just pick it right off, and it's quite easy. You just need to be patient and look for them. I'm going to rinse off my apples. I'm going to take this, I'm just going to try to take the stem off. I can't, but so I have Fuji apples today. That's what I was able to find at the store. Whatever type of apples look best. These are a very sweet apple, so it should be very good in a fruit salad. So we have some raspberries, we have some blueberries, we have some grapes, we have banana. Might need more than one banana, we'll see. And we have a couple of these little oranges that are seedless, called cuties or mandarin oranges, whatever you can find that are the little sweet ones that are seedless. Okay, so I'm going to start cutting up the apple. So I'm going to first, I think I'm going to cut it in half this way. And then I'm going to take the stem off, and I'm going to very carefully core this apple, and I have a very sharp knife, which is actually safer to use a sharp knife than it is to use a dull knife, because a sharp knife easily goes through the object, whereas a dull knife you have to press harder and more likely to get yourself injured. So I'm going to do that. And if you have an apple core and you feel more comfortable using it, that's fine. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. And if you're inexperienced with a knife or a young person, you know, you might want to have somebody has more experience with a knife help you out with that. So we're going to try for 2 apples. I might need more. We'll see. Hope everybody's having a good day. This should be a very delicious side dish or dessert. So my mother-in-law always served it as a side dish, but it's certainly, when you see it all done, you're going to certainly say that looks more like dessert. But for whatever reason, it was always served with the main course. That's our family history on this particular salad. But really, to me, it's more like a dessert. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do, because I don't want a ton of it because I'm not making it for a huge crowd. So just, if you're going to make it for a huge crowd, you're going to need more. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to have everything to be about a cup. Now this is a cup. Now if it ends up here, then we'll use that as a reference point. But this line is 1 cup. So let's see if we can get 1 cup of apples out of this. So I'm going to cut it in bite-sized pieces. So probably for each, let's see, probably do it each one of these slices, then I'm going to turn that into 3. This one might just be like that. So let's see if 2 apples is approximately 1 cup. And it doesn't have to be exact because we're not baking, it's not chemistry. But just so that when you take a bite out of this fruit salad, you get all the flavors kind of equal. So I can even go like this and have it together and then cut it like this to save a little bit of time. Make sure the seeds aren't involved. We don't want seeds, that's for sure. Okay, so that's like, that's a little over, that's like all the way at the top here. So let's see, let's see how much this is. Maybe I have a little bit too much. But as long as it's all even. So let's say this is where we're going to go with this. We're going to make all our fruit this high. So that'll be our reference point. So what I've done is I've gotten out a larger bowl than I need. So let me show everybody. So I have this very large bowl because for the purposes of mixing it, I need a larger bowl. For the purposes of serving it, I think I'm going to use this one. So let's see if that all works out. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my bowl. And then let's see if I can get out the same amount of blueberries as I did apples. Oops. This might be almost all these blueberries too, potentially. I might end up with more than I think. Okay, so that's like exactly the amount of the apples. My husband said earlier, he said, I think it's about 2 apples is going to equal that amount of blueberries. So he was correct on that. Now let's try the raspberries. Okay, so far we're doing good on our measuring. That's pretty close. Okay, I think I could just like pour that juice in there. That's just off the water. Now, let's do a cup of grapes. But on the grapes, because this is a pretty big piece, we're going to cut the grapes in half. Now, my my granddaughter is old enough now that she should be okay with a half a grape. If you have a real little one, you might want to actually quarter those grapes if you're planning on letting them eat this. I wouldn't recommend it whole for anybody just because it's easier to eat, I think, when it's cut in half, when you're eating it in a fruit salad. So I'm definitely going to have leftover grapes, but that's okay because we eat a lot of grapes in our house. Okay, so now my grapes are ready. Now, one of the things that is a good tip is not to stir this yet, and you'll see why in a little bit. Okay, so now let's go for the banana, and let's see how many cups is in one banana, or because actually we're going for this much in a measuring 1 cup measuring cup. Okay, so let's just slice these, but not too thin. I'm saying that as I'm making sure that I'm not doing it too thin. Okay, so the key is to have even parts of everything. So like I said, depending how many people you're having, and the fruit's not going to last forever in your fridge, so if you're only doing it for the family, don't do too much. Although it's already looking big. And I'm not planning on having it as a party, so I hope everybody's in the mood for fruit salad. Okay, I am definitely going to need another banana because we're like right here. So I'm going to go grab another one and cut that up. I'm a little short on my banana, so it might be a banana and a half. So let's just check this out and see where we're at on the banana situation. We'll cut up possibly. Some of this banana looks a little dark. So you need to inspect your fruit. I'm not putting that in there. Let's see if this whole banana is that way. Oh. The rest of the banana is okay. See what I'm talking about? Whoops. Sorry. Okay. So half of the banana was no good anyway. So we're just going to go with the rest of this, and it all looks good. So it's probably going to be the exact right amount. But yes, it's very important to inspect your fruit. That's for sure. Okay, so now we're about right on the banana, so I'm going to pour that in there. Now for the little oranges. I'm going to dry my hands because they're slippery from the banana. Okay. And let's see how many of these I need. The guess is 2. Oh, this smells really good. You can tell when you open these up, you can tell when you got a good one. And this one certainly is a good one because it smells delicious. And I guess a little bit of this fruit goes a long way because it's looking like it's getting big. Okay, so I'm going to separate each little section. And I'm not bothering rinsing the cutting board because all this is going together. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this in half just so that I can have the taste be evenly distributed. So let's see how many we're going to need of these. Okay, so that's 2. So I'm going to probably need, I'm guessing 4. I'll continue to do this and I will tell you how much it ended up being. Okay, so I've added the oranges and that ended up being 4 of those little oranges. And this just keeps on growing. I probably should have done half this amount, but I hope it's very delicious and everybody enjoys eating it. So we are going to go over to the mixer and we are going to make homemade whipped cream. We need, make sure everybody can see this, heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to shake the bottle up really well before we start. And then I'm going to take the seal off here. And for every cup of whipped cream, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So I'm going to adjust the camera so you can see me measuring this. Okay, so now when doing the liquid measuring, you want to get level with the cup. And this is all going together, so I just rinsed it out. You can use the same cup you used to measure this out. And then when measuring powdered sugar, you want to level this off. This is 1 tablespoon, and I'm just going to put it right in here. And then 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to pour this. Actually, I'm going to take a fork and mix it up a little. Have it semi-mixed before I put it in there. Now, on what to use, you don't want to use this attachment, and you don't want to use your dough hook. You want to use your wire wisp, which is usually what I tell everybody not to use when making cookie dough because you'll ruin it. But this is what you need a wire wisp for. It's important that this is metal, the mixing bowl, so it's nice and cold already, which is helpful. And of course the heavy whipping cream just came out of the fridge, so it's nice and cold. So we're going to pour this in here. I'm just going to kind of scrape the edges. Make sure I get everything out of my cup, because it is thick, because it is heavy whipping cream. And then we're going to put this attachment on here. Okay, so I got everything, the splatter screen on and everything, because otherwise we don't want stuff to go flying if we didn't use the splatter screen. And now we're going to put it on high speed. Okay, so it's been like 2 minutes. And let's just check on it. Okay, I think it's done. And I'll tell you why I think it's done. Let me move this back. You can kind of, I have to readjust some stuff so I can show everybody why this is done. And then we'll do a taste test before we add it to the fruit salad. Let's see how this is. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to show you. That's how you know it's done. Okay, so now I'm going to take a tiny little spoon, just because I need a tiny little taste, just to make sure it tastes good. Very delicious. Okay, I found the right spoon. That took a few minutes. All right, so now I'm going to put all this whipped cream into the fruit salad. Scrape it all out of here. Okay, now I'm going to carefully stir it in. When I say carefully, what I'm trying to do is not break up all the fruit. But the raspberries, because I remember when my mother-in-law used to do this with frozen raspberries, the juice off the raspberries would make the color of the fruit salad. It would start turning pink, but she didn't use blueberries, so I'm actually interested to see what we're going to get. Are we going to get purple? Are we going to get pink? But to me, blueberries just sounded really good to make this taste good. Because the blueberries were in season. Last time I did make this. There was no blueberries in season, or maybe they were in season, but they just didn't look wonderful. So this is like the perfect amount of whipped cream to fruit ratio. I'm just going to kind of stir it, and if you notice, obviously you've noticed, but I'm turning the bowl so that I'm using the bowl kind of to help me get this mixed in. And now it doesn't look quite as gigantic as it did before, so that's good. So it's like, how are we going to eat all this? But I have a feeling it will disappear quickly. So notice how the whipped cream is getting kind of the pink look, and that's what I remember years ago. That pink. So the pink is definitely going over. It's the dominant color over the blue, because the blueberries don't get mushed as much. They're a harder fruit. Okay, this is looking really good. It's mixed up enough. Oops. Okay, and there we are. The very pretty looking fruit salad. Okay, time for the taste test. And by the way, I made sure that my dogs did not get any of the grapes. I know if you've watched my channel, you know my dogs are always in the background. Dogs cannot eat grapes. Time for the taste test. And I'm going to grab myself a big spoon so that I can taste all the flavors. I usually use a smaller spoon. So I'm going to try to grab a little bit of each fruit. Okay. That came out absolutely delicious. Using the whipping cream from scratch makes a huge difference. The blueberries give it a whole different level of flavor. Came out really good. Ended up making quite a bit. I can't wait to sit down and just have a bowl of that. It is quite refreshing. If you find these fruits in the supermarket and they look really good, might be a good time to try this fruit salad because it came out quite delicious. Hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, thank you very much. And if you don't, it is free, and I hope you do. Thanks for watching.